When we talked last was probably 2 years ago, and we were starting to see red flags then. Minnesota had a Democratic trifecta, meaning they had total control over the state of Minnesota. They passed a bunch of laws because they could, and some of those laws that they passed allowed for an awful lot of fraud to be able to occur. In just last year's session, the Democrats shut down a bill that would have helped prevent fraud. They killed it in the House. Now, why, if you are an honest person, would you kill a bill that's going to try to help you save the billions of dollars that are going out the door? So that right there seems to smell to high heaven as far as I'm concerned. And as each day went by, it was like an onion being unpeeled. One feeding our future fraud with the kids. The kids didn't get food that should have gotten food. There was money for the homeless or to get into a home, and an autism. I mean, these are people that really, really needed this stuff, and the worst of the worst stole basically from babies and children. And the reason that it went unnoticed is that it didn't go unnoticed. There were a lot of people with a lot of red flags. There were employees, Department of Minnesota employees that were told to basically shut up, sit down, and go away. A.G. Ellison, the head law enforcement officer of Minnesota, okay, the guy that you would go to and say, hey, we think there's something wrong. Well, his involvement in this is we've got a tape recording of him. He goes to one of the fraudsters' buildings, sits down with a group of fraudsters. They tell him, hey, these people are putting pressure on us. And he tells the fraudsters, don't worry about it, we'll keep your money flowing. So even if you wanted to do something about it, the head law enforcement officer is siding with the people that are actually stealing from us. Governor Walz, there's not even anything to say about him. He is cold, cruel, and calculated. If he didn't know about this, I would be very, very surprised. And then it goes down to, Ilhan Omar. Where did this actually start? She passed legislation. Her legislation actually started, and it allowed people to get into feeding our future. If you look at where the fraud is, it's primarily her CD5 district, the district that I'm running in against her. And it's really odd to think that, all the fraud just happened in a particular area, and it was a bill that she, particularly put together. Now, I don't know who helped her craft it. That's something we're going to have to find out. But when you look at her community, it's very tight-knit. And people, it's like a big, huge neighborhood, and everybody knows everybody. She had a gentleman who managed to make sure people didn't say anything to anybody. There was just a report in the last 2 days, and it was a Somalilander, which is a different tribe. And she came out and said, yep, if we tried to say anything about fraud or her past, we were threatened. And she has a few people that are close ties that were her enforcer. The guy that spent a lot of time with her was actually convicted of stabbing somebody. And it's my impression that he actually tried running for parliament in his old country. So there's a lot of really deep ties. If you look at the Safariland restaurant, if you're going to be in politics, you need to go through the people at the Safariland restaurant. They kind of control the politics. She had all of her fundraising things. I mean, that was sort of her hangout. That's where she spent money, got donations. Saeed was part of that. That was her ally, her friend. There's speculation that he's the one that went out and told people they should shut up and not say anything about her. And then if you go a little bit further, there's electronic evidence of emails between her and the fraudsters. There is an email trail. So isn't it interesting that the first person that they convict has got an email trail to her office? I mean, it goes on and on. As a police officer, if I was sitting down and I was looking at a crime, I would have a big board. And on that board, I would have pictures of people. And then I would have what they did, who they know. This would be one big spider web, and they would all be connected in some manner. I don't have any inside information, but as a retired police officer, I'm looking at a whole lot of circumstantial evidence, and we already know after 70-some people have been convicted that if 70 of those people are convicted that are a part of that spider web, that speculation is pretty good if you're going to keep investigating things. And it was the FBI. Walz did say something. Walz lied again, which he usually does, and came out and said he was arresting people. He did nothing. If it wasn't for, thank God, the federal government, the FBI, the Department of Justice, if the cavalry hadn't shown up, this stuff would still be going on because there was nowhere for these people to go to. And that's an absolute crime in itself. This is America. That doesn't happen here. You can't have this much fraud and have it be an accident. You can't have this much fraud involving people that know each other for it to be incompetency. Like I said, there's enough circumstantial evidence to say these people let it happen. And again, you have an AG that actually is talking to the people that were convicted, and he says, "Oh yeah, we'll pretty much keep it off your plate." And 2 days ago, one of our local media people went to his office and they wanted to talk to him. He will not talk to normal media outlets. He will go talk to left-wing media outlets, but he will not talk to anybody that would probably ask him, tough questions. If she truly cared about the fraud, her name wouldn't be attached all over to these other people. She came on, she made a statement about, how terrible it is to basically steal food from children. Yeah, okay, that's a really nice thing to say, but you have way too many people that you're associated with that actually did that. Now, she yells racism anytime somebody puts any pressure on her. Well, I've heard her say that all white men are a problem. She came out and she badmouthed Charlie Kirk. She is, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine. She hates Jewish people. Who really is the person that has an issue? You can yell all day long, and that's just a cover for her. And people that are afraid of that are being, I'm being told I'm a racist. Well, they're not going to say anything. But when you have crimes, I don't care if you're the Irish mob in Boston or if you're the Italian mob in Chicago, if we come out and say, hey, there's fraud going on, it doesn't make any difference where you come from. It's the fraud we're talking about. And she's using that as a smokescreen, and she knows it. From what the Department of Justice is saying is they've repeatedly said it's the tip of the iceberg. They've also come out and said 50% of the Minneapolis community has immigration fraud. They violated that. I mean, that's a huge statement to say, 50% of a population in Minneapolis. So yeah, they're expecting it to be much, much, much bigger, and I have no doubt, to not believe that it's going to be. If Minnesota has that much fraud going on there, where's the other fraud that we're going to find, or where it leads to? Well, I'm a brand new grandpa, and I'm really happy with that. I could be spending a lot more time with my granddaughter, but Minnesota deserves honesty and normalcy. They need to have people running that are actually there to serve the people of Minnesota. We don't have that right now. And even in Washington, we have primarily Democrats in Congress. And there is some speculation too that one or two other people in the Democratic Party in Congress may have known what was going on too, or received funding. That's the other thing too. A whole lot of people that were convicted donated a whole lot of money. Omar says that she gave the money back. Well, if you go into public records, she gave some money back, but there's a whole lot more money there that she didn't report. And I think if people were just to go through the everyday records that are out there, you'll find out that her involvement in the money that she has is questionable.
So what do you think about that, boys and girls? I told you, the truth always bubbles up to the surface. Who knows, there might be a part 3 with the conviction and the deportation of this garbage. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.